It is an inaccurate way to state the question.
You'll have a chance to explain yourself.
So that we're clear, just so we're clear. I want to be clear.
It's either a yes or a no.
I never tell people at work who I'm dating. And please do not yell at me.
All I asked is who knew.
Re-ask the question, we'll see where it takes us.
Okay.
How do the answers of DA Fani Willis expose her diversion tactics? And what do these diversion tactics mean for the truth value of these answers? What is the information that Willis doesn't want to disclose? This video looks at the most heated moments of the examination of Willis. Hang on, because things are about to get spicy. Let's go for it.
Ask you questions that you can actually answer without having to explain, okay?
Yes, sir. My comprehension skills are pretty good, so we should do all right.
We shall soon see.
By emphasizing the answering part, the lawyer anticipates Willis's many over-elaborate answers that I've pointed out in previous videos. This is a way of putting pressure on Willis, that if she starts over-explaining, people are going to notice.
If I heard you correctly, you moved into what I will refer to as the Yurti condo in either March or April of 2021. Is that correct?
Sometime between late February and April. Yes, I don't. Just so we're clear, yes.
Just so we're clear. I think I've heard this before.
And let me be clear. It needs to be very clear. Let's be very clear.
In conversations, and especially in a situation like this, people are expected to be clear, so why say it? Saying it shows that the speaker is highly self-aware. It's also a possible indication that the speaker knows that he or she isn't or doesn't want to be clear for self-protective reasons.
And you moved in there for safety reasons.
This is a declarative statement functioning as a yes-no question. However, does Willis give a simple yes-no answer? No.
My father, yes, I moved in there. We were concerned. My father was terribly concerned about me continuing to live at the house. And so that we're clear, people came to my house at 5 o'clock in the morning about the police brutality cases, saying I was going to have a wake-up call. And there were concerns due to that was at the very beginning of this, looking into that. And so for all of those reasons and what was happening, my father wanted me out the house, and begrudgingly I left.
Stalling is a pattern in Willis's answers. As a DA, she's fully aware of the difference between answering and over-explaining. Over-explaining leads to predictable confrontations that buy her more time to focus on whatever she feels like focusing on. Her recurring claim to want to be clear is designed to take the focus away from this stalling. Stalling is an act of linguistic self-defense and, unintentionally, points to the possibility of Willis having information that she doesn't want to disclose. So, in the long run, she isn't doing herself any favors, even though in the moment she might think she is.
Okay, so the answer to the question was yes for safety reasons, correct?
Those were all of the things that caused the safety concerns. I'm sorry.
I'm not questioning whether they are or are not safety concerns. I just asked that you moved into this condo, the RT condo,
right,
for safety reasons, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Conversation analysis works with the notion of a first pair part and a second pair part, a so-called adjacency pair, meaning that if we, as the first pair part speaker, ask a question, we expect the second pair part speaker to answer accordingly. If the second pair part speaker doesn't give a proper response to a yes-no question like correct, argument ensues. Willis's defiance breaks conversational rules and thus continues to distract from the topic at hand, which is the point.
At the time that you moved into the condo, be it from February to April of 2021,
yes,
was your father still living in your house?
Right, because my father...
That's all I ask you.
But I get to explain the answer, sir.
I don't know if there's an explanation. If I ask you, was your father still living at your house, the answer is either he was or he wasn't.
Yes, but you are going to get to argue at the end of this, as we both know.
I'm not going to argue anything.
Aside from extreme self-awareness, this passage exposes Willis's need for control. At this point, the lawyer is very far from arguing anything. These are preliminary questions. Willis's objection here could be used in all court cases. So what is she proposing? That all people who take the stand don't conform to the lawyer's questioning, because the lawyer will argue their points. Willis is a citizen like everyone else, but her behavior indicates that she wants to be treated as more than that. Next, we see that she gets what she wants, even though it's actually counterproductive. A pointless confrontation, which is the point.
I'm going to
I'd like
ask.
be able to explain why.
I'm going
And so,
to.
yes, because my father is an older gentleman, he was worried about COVID and he stayed.
Willis's intonation gives the false impression that her answer is self-sacrificing and that this is a turning point in the examination, when the truth is she was asked a preliminary, simple yes-no question. But anything to act as if she's under attack, I guess. Surely that'll make the lawyer tone it down, right? And finally, the judge decides to take action. Bring out the popcorn.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to say that's second time. Whenever we have to put a pause, we stop testifying, okay? You'll have a chance to explain yourself. The question was whether your father was not staying there at the time, and you're clarifying that in your answer as well. You can have a brief clarification, but it shouldn't be something that reaches well beyond the question. All right, Mr. Sadal, you can re-ask the question. We'll see where it takes us.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
The real question that the judge should ask himself is, why do I have to say this to a DA who's fully aware of the procedure and who's shown that she's fully aware of the procedure?
But you are going to get to argue at the end of this, as we both
I'm not
know.
going to.
The answer to that question is stalling.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to say that's
The judge says, qualifying his objection, which, along with all the other times he hasn't objected, suggests reluctance. Is he always this reluctant, or is it only when he's speaking to a DA? Next, it's interesting to note how fast Willis answers the question. I guess answering wasn't so hard after all.
Was your father still living in your house at the time you moved to what I would refer to as a Yurty condo?
Yes, sir, he was, due to his concerns related to COVID.
Okay.
Which is a reliable answer, short, concise, and relevant to the question. This shift from an intentionally over-elaborate answer to a short answer has occurred more than once.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive.
Ms. Willis, I'll ask you to just listen to the answer, the question, and keep the answers confined to the questions.
So again, my question was, you all met at that conference though, right?
We did the meeting.
Okay.
He, as I stated, he taught the class.
This shows that Willis understands the questions and, more importantly, understands how she should answer them. So why all the drama? Because the drama has to be there. It's part of the linguistic self-defense, part of the stalling. Willis gets even more defensive when she's asked about her relationship with Nathan Wade, the prosecutor she hired to help in the prosecution of Trump.
Who in the prosecution team knew of your personal relationship, and now I'm talking romantic, with Mr. Wade?
Questions don't get clearer than this. That's how we can be sure that we're not about to get a clear answer.
So, sir, I am extremely private.
All I ask is who knew. It's not. If the answer is no one knew, that's fine.
I am extremely private.
This is focus shift, a classic diversion tactic. This particular focus shift is an appeal to virtue, being a decent person who doesn't let people in on her private life. This particular focus shift is Willis's way of acting offended and, interestingly, presupposing that the lawyer should have known better than to ask, as if he's aware of her virtue. Just imagine if other people thought they could get away with this kind of defense. So much diversion, so little time.
No,
I ask you who knew.
You can answer
Let me just tell
it
you
and
this.
then explain, Ms. Willis.
I am very private. When I supervised Mr. Body and Mr. McAfee, they didn't know who I was dating, but I can assure you I was dating somebody. So that I kept something private, that's my private life, is not any mystery to anyone.
No one said it was a mystery. She's the one bringing it up. Willis responds as if she's already given a clear answer and is now annoyed that she has to clarify it. She uses outrage or indignation as a tactic, unintentionally showing her need for control, controlling what the lawyer asks her. This level of antagonism, presupposing what the lawyer will use against her, is indicative of someone who has information they don't want to disclose, which is consistent with the observation that she evades the specific question about Wade.
They didn't know who I was dating, but I can assure you I was dating somebody.
Somebody is distancing language. Time and time again, Willis shows that she's unwilling to conform to the rules of an examination, which is unbecoming of a DA. If she feels that the rules don't apply to her, how can she fault criminals for feeling the same? Willis isn't done with the outrage or indignation diversion tactic.
It's like a woman doesn't have the right to keep her private life private. And I'm speaking on this because there have been all these intimations.
And the reason for these intimations is that Willis doesn't give clear and unambiguous answers. If she did, they wouldn't be there. So the real reason why she's speaking on this is to postpone relevant answers. She refers to her gender and uses the expression speaking on this as if she's a brave spokesperson for a general problem. This way, she plays on the indignation of this demographic and makes herself look like a victim in comparison to the rude male lawyer. Politicians and celebrities often play on the indignation of the same demographics for votes and sympathy. Ultimately, it's about controlling the agenda.
You still haven't answered the question, Ms. Willis.
I'm sorry, what was the question, Your Honor?
Is there anyone else who knew about it? And then you can explain.
I don't know. I don't think so. I certainly didn't go out telling my business to the world.
Willis sure is quick to answer once the judge gets involved. It's almost as if she understood and was able to answer the lawyer's question 40 seconds ago. Wait. Willis forgetting the question demonstrates the degree to which she's caught up in her own tactics. She's so self-aware, aware of not disclosing certain information, that she's not involved in the lawyer's questioning. She's present, but not involved, like many students in college, by the way. But you didn't hear that from me.
I certainly didn't go out telling my business to the world.
This is a weak denial. It's weak because it isn't specific to the topic at hand. They're specifically talking about Wade, but she doesn't say she didn't tell anyone about him. Also, the adverb certainly points to reservations, indicating that there could be more to this than she's letting on. And next, things are about to get heated.
Okay, so, the best of your recollection, you didn't inform anyone on the prosecution team that the individual that you had chosen to lead the prosecution team had a personal relationship with you.
So
Is that correct?
That's inaccurate. Your question is inaccurate.
What?
Because you stated that the person I chose, we had a personal relationship. So we had a friendship. We have all these distinguishing factors. Remember, when I chose him in November of 21, first of all, let's get this straight. Mr. Wade was not actually my first choice. That's no insult to him.
Your Honor,
No, it is you, because of the way you phrased the question. You said, when I chose him, I didn't inform people of a personal relationship. We have defined personal as romantic. It is an inaccurate way to state the question. Remember, first of all, let's get this straight.
Willis uses authoritative language, suggesting that she has an overview, unlike the lawyer. So, does Willis have good reason to sound authoritative? Yes and no. From her perspective, she's right in asking for the question to be restated, but what she doesn't mention is that she herself has used the term personal relationship incorrectly. On Law Insider's website, personal relationship is defined as an ongoing romantic or intimate personal relationship that can include dating, living together, or being a partner or significant other. However, in the following, Willis refers to a bunch of people that she supposedly has a personal relationship with, but she doesn't ask herself to restate it.
So let's be very clear so that we don't mix words. I don't want to mix words in here. So if you ask about a personal relationship, I consider myself to have a personal relationship right now, Mr. Wade. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Anna Cross. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Mr. Abadi. I consider myself to have a personal relationship with Andrew Evans.
Okay, let me just clarify that
I
before we
have
go.
a personal relationship with him as we speak right now.
A romantic
I don't think that's what you're asking. I think that's what you're asking.
So if she doesn't think that that's what the lawyer is asking, why does she give this long, stalling answer? Because stalling is the point, the reason for the diversion tactics. Stalling allows her to postpone the real answer and detail whatever she's comfortable detailing. Next, Willis goes back to the indignation diversion tactic.
Then I will certainly restate it so it is very accurate.
Okay, and please do not yell at me.
She does everything she can to tame the lawyer. Surely that'll stop him from asking inconvenient questions, right?
Well,
It can be dating, it can be holding hands, it can be any of those things that one might call romantic. I'm asking you whether or not prior to November 1st of 2021, there was a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade. That's very simple. It's either a yes or a no.
I don't consider my relationship with him to be romantic before that. I'm not a hand holder, so no.
That's fine. Now,
I'm not a handholder, Willis says. This is a partial denial, and thus another weak denial. This partial denial doesn't rule out that she could have had a romantic relationship in other ways than holding hands. It's a sarcastic play on the lawyer's words. This way, if it's found out that their romantic relationship started before they said it did, she can blame the lawyer for not listing proper romantic actions, or something like that.
now I'm asking you about that time period when it became romantic.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
After what we've seen, I'm totally convinced that Willis's sudden politeness is sincere.
You didn't see the need, if I understand, to tell any of the people on the prosecution team when you had established a romantic relationship with Mr. Wade that the lead prosecutor, that is the man that was basically giving orders to others, was dating or having a romantic relationship with you, correct?
I'm going to object to relevance at this point, Your Honor.
Just say no relevance.
It just to prove what we're attempting to show that there is an issue on the credibility about the relationship. The failure to have informed anyone on her team that she was having a romantic relationship with the lead prosecutor, I suggest, gives rise to that inference. That's the relevance.
The inference that
that they were concealing this because it was not as it's been characterized to the court, and that in fact it started earlier than what they say.
all right, overruled. Mr. Sato.
I find it strange that the judge doesn't immediately overrule this objection. What Willis's attorney is objecting to is the very foundation of the disqualification case. Thus, no matter if people think that Willis should be disqualified or not, the relevance of the question is quite obvious.
I just want to make sure that we're clear.
No doubt, that must be why she's been nothing but clear and hasn't tried to dodge any questions. And no doubt she means it as a collaborative effort, using the pronoun we, because as we've seen, she's been nothing but cooperative.
From at least 2020, me and Mr. Wade were friends. At least that time period.
Okay, I'm not talking
Okay,
about.
so no, I want to be clear because my credibility is being evaluated here, right?
Right, and repeating that you want to be clear while taking a different starting point than the question called for isn't exactly the best way to prove that you're credible.
In November of 2021, I hired him. I do not consider our relationship to have become romantic until early of 2022. I do not consider our...
Willis once again makes a partial denial, allowing for other interpretations than hers, and also indicating the possibility that she has another interpretation in mind than the one she's telling.
I hope that answered your question.
She hopes that answered his question, or she hopes that he won't ask more questions.
All right, so you've established the timeline as you put it. The question originally was, at that time, did you tell any other prosecutors on the prosecution?
I never tell people at work who I'm dating.
All right, Mr. Sato.
Okay.
But she wasn't so quick to answer when the lawyer asked her. It couldn't be because she was stalling, could it? Also, this is distancing language. Saying that she never tells people who she's dating isn't the same as saying that she didn't tell anyone about Wade specifically. What do you think about this case? Let us know in the comments. And if you liked the video, you can click the like button and subscribe for more clear videos.